if you work at Fox News, you can put on a full wolf fursuit, tell your boss your name is Vociferon, Herald of...
He workshopped this. You know he did.
And your pronouns are Lord Vociferon and Lord Vociferons. And if they don't use it, they're in violation of the law.
Didn't land too heavy for like clearly some workshop material. Like this I feel this is past the draft reading at this point.
Now, as I've mentioned before, I've talked to lawyers about this in New York who said you'll be laughed out of the courtroom. Why would the law say
that part? I believe that part. Yes, absolutely. All right, let's learn about how Fox has gone woke, says the Beanie Man, a one Tim Pool.
Leaked policy exposes Fox News' stance on woke ideology. So, of course, the big story, Tucker Carlson gets ousted. Several reports have said he got the boot because it was part of the Dominion settlement. But, Dan, you had a show there, a huge show. Yeah. So I don't know if you have any insights into this, but I'll just say outright, this is like a big exclusive where apparently now people are coming up from Fox News saying inside the company, it is woke. It is very lefty. I think the obvious thing is you're in New York City. You got New York City laws. Yeah. These laws are pretty...
By the way, kind of scary march towards fascism if you want to position Fox News as left. Just think about that. Recalibrate your political compass to suit that right now. And then when you're done, holy fuck. Holy fuck. If Fox News, like fucking Tucker Carlson, great replacement theory shit, if that's left wing, oh no.
Broad. And I'm going to get into the heaviness of these laws, but I'm curious, your experience at Fox News, you know, you go from politics, then you're into, you know, radio, now your personality, now you've got a show on Fox News. Did you see any of this woke stuff there?
Yeah, man. I mean, it was real. Now, here's the thing.
Sorry, I totally like spaced out. It was going to be the P-Man. Yes. Oh, your nation himself, Dan Bongino. Good to see ya. It's been a while.
I didn't work in Fox in New York. I had my own studio in Florida. And I got to tell you, Fox never did me wrong. Like we would fight about a lot of stuff.
But then they would woke out a little bit.
Megan Kelly about this last week. But it wasn't anything unusual you wouldn't see on his show. I mean, it wasn't like, oh, don't cover that topic or that. I said often, like, they never told me what to talk about because I just would have talked about it anyway. I mean, there's a reason, but I didn't use a prompter on a lot of my segments. Some of them we did, but that doesn't happen at Fox. Like almost nobody. I think there's one host. I don't think Cavuto uses a prompter, but it's for different reasons. But almost nobody it goes without a prompter. Matter of fact, I had Jesse on as a guest one day in New York. Rarely I would do my show from New York, like once or twice a quarter or something. And Jesse came in and I did this big like rant and he's looking at a prompter and it just says like, Dan ad-lib. And I go on. And he's like, dude, you did that out of your head? And he's like, well, how'd you hit the mark and stuff? I said, oh, you know, I'm used to it with talk radio. Like we did our thing. So no one ever told me what to say because I wouldn't have listened anyway. But here's the thing.
Play the song? Yes, we can.
Like Tim brings up a point because it's hard. I know it's easy to, pile on. And if anybody has a reason to be angry with everything going on, it's me. I was there.
Okay, just for science. Okay, it's just for science. Hold on.
I wanna be at the RNC. I wanna see Patricia McCloskey. I wanna scream for the GOP. I wanna sit with Dan Bongino. I wanna show the American flag that hangs behind the toilet in Grandma's basement. I wanna ask him if he'll be my dad. I wanna change my name to Nick Bongino. I wanna tell him about the man in the stairs. He kinda looks like Dan Bongino. Grandma tries to tell me not to go down there, but I would be safe with Dan Bongino. I wanna be at the RNC. I wanna be like Dan Bongino. I wanna be at the RNC. I wanna be like Dan Bongino. I wanna be at the RNC. I wanna hold hands with Dan Bongino. I wanna be at the RNC.
Fox has gone woke.
Wanna be like
And
Dan Bongino, Dan Bongino, Dan Bongino, Dan Bongino, Dan Bongino, Dan Bongino, Dan Bongino. I wanna be like Dan Bongino.
well, I learned something. Did you?
You know,
That's a pretty intense space to get back to. Just like,
I'm pissed about what happened. I am. I would, the relationship there, I put a lot of time into.
the
But he's not
wokeification.
wrong. I mean, forget this stuff for a second. I'll get to that in a second. I'm not trying to avoid it, but I'll give you a perfect example. The vaccine thing. They did
Yeah.
everything they can with me to make it easy for people to not get canned with the mandate. But they were in New York. Like they had they would have shut the building down. I lived that. They did everything they could to make sure nobody got canned. Like, okay, you're going to do this and you're going to do remote stuff. All right, would I like them to like punch him in the face in New York and say, this is stupid, we're not doing it? Yeah, but with this is different. I mean, this is kind of like, I read the story. Looks like they really went overboard with this.
Okay, so you'll never believe what this is. Apparently, there's a mandate where you have to use. I know. This one's out of control. Pronouns, the same way you have your entire life. Yeah, there's a Fox memo that says, please use people's preferred pronouns. Yeah, it's wild.
You got to remember, you got a lot of serious conservatives there. How are they going to feel? Say you're a female conservative host there, which they have a few.
No.
You're popping in a bathroom and a guy walks in.
What?
How's that going to go down there? They
That's the mandate? Men to be in women's washrooms? Distinctly?
thought this through.
Has Fox News considered maybe leaving New York?
They should. They should. I mean, listen, after the Tucker thing,
It's the wokeness of New York infiltrating Fox. I understand now. Scientifically, that has to be accurate.
they've got bigger problems. I mean, I'm not sure. A lot of people link their. This is a great. Can I read something? It's quick. I promise. I hate when people read stuff. But this was someone gave this up to Breitbart, and this kind of explains it all. They said because this is kind of accurate. They're talking about why me and Tucker weren't re-signed, and some.
I feel like we got different experiences. Me and Dan Bongino. Like when I was sitting in that seat, I don't feel like I could just be like, hey, so I just want to, I don't know, read a story right now. Is that cool? I just want to read some things. If that's okay with you, I'm just going to pull this out. I just want to read some shit. I don't know. It's going to be probably interesting. Let's hope. I hope it's pertinent.
Source told them, this is from a Matt Boyle piece, that Bongino and Carlson, one source said, were considered the two most likely to say fuck you to management. It's right here. A network insider said, adding that Bongino gave 0 fucks and Tucker gave even less fucks. So that's
Wow.
kind of true.
Not a lot of fucks.
That's why I'm not furious at them because I wasn't the easiest guy to work with. I'm not going to mess
How
with
did it end? You were just doing it and then they fired you?
No. So the show was number one. I mean, demo and overall. You can't get higher number one. Like we were rocking it, man. We were pulling in killer numbers. Even we were at 10 and at 9 at both spots. And they wanted to re-sign
10 and a
for
9.
about 6 months. And I don't have an agent. I do my own deals always. I don't need it. I like my own stuff. So I was the one doing all the negotiating. There was never a question they wanted to show ever. And then about 2 weeks out, but at the end of the contract was I think April 30th or whatever. I don't remember off the top of my head. But about 2 weeks out, I noticed like the tone changed completely, and I don't know what happened. I at that point I wanted to re-up for a year. And I said, let's just punt this down the road and let's re-up for a year. And then I don't know. It just seemed like they weren't interested. But the people I was dealing with there, they were genuine with me. Like they never bullshitted me at all. No one ever said to me something.
Okay, just get to the new mandates.
In a given culture or historical period. It actually says that, meaning if you put on a safari costume from the 1800s and call yourself the Colonel with a fake beard, that is quite literally what they're referring to. Historical period.
What? Like, man, is there an equivalent of Tim Pool? I know sometimes people are like, oh, this person's like the leftist Steven Crowder. This person's the leftist Ben Shapiro. This person's the leftist Candace. Like, is there a leftist Tim Pool where someone just randomly gets to say whatever they want out of nowhere? And then all of a sudden everyone just be like, Oh, okay. Well, that normally would be reserved for cartoon characters to say what you just said. But for some reason, we now have to take it on face value. And now it's just out there. So you said something, again, cartoonishly strange. But now we all have to be like, yeah, okay, so I guess we just have to entertain this as a line of thought now, thanks to the bizarre thing you've just said out loud. Jimmy Dore, but no one takes Jimmy Dore seriously. Same with Moppin. No, it's not. It's a false equivalency. Okay, I will not accept that. I won't accept Jimmy Dore. I won't accept Caleb Moppin. No, Jimmy Dore in theory, but no one takes him. No one else on the left is like, yes, okay, so that batshit thing you just said, Jimmy Dore, I have to take that on face value, and then do that, enact that in real life. Yes, and if I don't go on your show, apparently that's treason. It's the same thing.
You can dress up like a pirate. They wouldn't put historical period as protected unless they expected people to dress up like colonial era pirates.
You cannot run a conservative company out of New York City. You cannot.
You could have said, like, that's not what that says at all, and no one is saying that you suddenly have a right to identify as a pirate. You're doing the one joke, Tim. You're doing the one joke. Again, right now, instead of you've replaced attack helicopter with pirate. That's it. But, like, instead it's like, yeah, they don't know what they're doing. Well, I would contend Tim doesn't know what he's doing right now. He's fucking, this is foolishness. He's just saying fucking nonsense right now. You could call that out as well. I mean, if we're fair and balanced, TM.
You realize this was the intention of the left hijacking corporate America too, right? You know, HRC and the DEI.
What? Fuck. What no theory does to a motherfucker, you know? This is leftism. If anything, you know, Marx, Engels, they were definitely talking about corporate fucking wokeism. That's what every volume of Das Kapital was about. That's the entire thing. You figured us out. Darn. They got us lefties. Yar, we have been figured out, I say. They know the entire plan.
I call it the die stuff.
The ESG stuff.
Because they want you to violate your own core tenet principles, which does what? It obviously alienates you from the
That's
core
volume 2. Volume 2 right there. No.
He says the chat's convinced you're on drugs. They're not used to the energy. I am not on any professional narcotics.
He didn't even have any of our coffee.
I didn't even have any of the coffee. This is
professional. What's unprofessional, I say? I mean, that's a broad definition. I would apply the same terms to myself, sir. At no point have I been on any unprofessional narcotics of any kind.
My natural state of being.
Here's what I want to say about the law in New York City, though. Because I think we need some strong people at Fox News. If there's anywhere that would be willing to test the limits of these laws, it's someone who works at Fox News, who understands this is going too far. If you work at Fox News, you can put on a full wolf fursuit, tell your boss your name is Vociferon, Herald of...
He workshopped this, you know? You know he did. The other day, I fucking saw that tweet by him where he's like, oh, fucking look at this, the COVIDiots leaving their needles everywhere. And you can see the fucking beanie in the shadow of the photo. I was like, you clearly workshopped this, Tim. I see the beanie in the photo. This will be hilarious. Oh man, this is going to be so epic when this gets online. The same thing with this.
The winter mists, and your pronouns are Lord Vociferon and Lord Vociferons. And if they don't use it, they're in violation of the law.
Didn't land too heavy for like clearly some workshop material. Like this I feel this is past a draft reading at this point.
Now, as I mentioned before, I've talked to lawyers about this in New York who said you'll be laughed out of the courtroom. Why would the law say
that part? I believe that part. Yes, absolutely. If you walked into a law firm and they were like, what would you like, sir? And you're like, well, I'd like to retain you. Okay, well, let's get past the conflicts of interest. Let's do this. It's going to be about $1,200 an hour. Okay, Tim, what do you got for us? Well, I'm thinking it'll be fucking hilarious if there's like this idea at Fox where like you have to be a furry in a fursuit and then you're like Lord Vociferon or whatever. And I think, you know, you could use like, I don't know, fur pronouns. It'll be really funny. Fox News is doing that or something. Do I have a case? Do you think? Like the things I just said out loud, do I have a case? Like a legal case that you want to take on? Yes, I will spare no expense. Money is not an object in my pursuit of whatever the fuck I just said out loud. I know. Yeah, you'll have to read it back to me. I'm not entirely sure what exactly was the point of my statement, but yeah, I did bring this to a law firm. That's a real thing that happened.
a historical period? Fine. Show up to Fox as an on-air contributor dressed like a pirate with an eye patch and go, "Yar, thanks for having me on the air, matey." And if they have a problem with it and tell you you can't go on, and say, "If you don't let me go on..."
And yeah, that's basically what woke LGBTQ plus ideology is trying to teach your kids. And that's why, yeah, it has to be destroyed and defeated.
I will file a complaint with the Commission on Human Rights in New York City for violation of their human rights law. Let's see how quickly Fox News bends over backwards. Here's what I want to see. Will Fox News at that point say, we cannot allow people to show up just like pirates? Or I mean, it says anything.
Caveman.
You could dress up like, yeah,
wanna be
with or a Roman in a toga, and then go on the air. If they bar you from going on the air, they're in violation of the law. Now, go before a judge and say, Your Honor, this is how I express my gender as someone who's non-binary. And
so again, nonsense and like no pushback. No one at any point has been like, okay, sorry, I have to stop you. Wait, sorry, are we doing something? Is this a bit? What are we doing right now? Tim, I am so lost. I'm so lost. Again, what you were describing only has place within fiction, the realm of fiction, like the genre. So am I supposed to play along? Do you want me to play a role? Would you like me to have a speaking part in this? Do you want me to just sit back and nod? Should I just affirm whatever you're saying? Just be like, okay. I'm lost as fuck.
it says in the law, historical period is explicitly protected. No judge is going to be able to laugh you out. There's no other interpretation of that.
It all depends on the judge.
Sure, but if
But there's no other interpretation of that. There's just no possible way.
the law itself says historical period. Now, look, when I first read this law back in 2019, I said, what would happen? I called a bunch of human rights lawyers in New York and said, what would happen if I went in just like a wolf or something and said I was vociferant? They said,
I was doing that as a bit. Why does this keep happening? I'll do a whole fucking routine. I'll get through it all. I'll play characters. I'll do voices. I'll go back and forth. And then afterwards, like, see, so the comedy is derived from the fact that I'm exaggerating reality. And therein, that's where I'm finding the comedy of the situation. And it's like, no, this motherfucker will catch up to you. Midway through the sentence, I'll be speaking. And then all of a sudden, Tim's like, so I walked into a law firm and then said, hey, what would happen if a wolf dressed up as vociferant? Well, they will take your money. That's the first part. I can guarantee you, before any of this went down, they're like, well, yes, we just have to look for conflict of interest. We'll retain you as a client, at which point we can't wait to provide you with our services, and we'll start billing you per hour. If you need a breakdown of any of that, let us know. And otherwise, just speak for as long as you want, Tim. You know, just really open up. Let's have a sesh. Back and forth, you know. Don't think about the time. Just ignore all of that, okay? What is father time? But a fool to us all. Just speak, and talk for as long as you want. And then when you're done talking, I'll respond.
they'd still fire you, kick you out. And when you go to a judge, they'll say, we know what the intent of the law is, and this is not it. And they will laugh you out of the courtroom. And I said, if a judge has the right to laugh at me for the way I dress, why not a man dressed like a woman? And they're like, well, I mean, the purpose of the law and the intent is, and I was like, okay, so there could be a judge who just said,
Checkmate, trans people. How will you ever get through this logic?
says no. This is different. This law explicitly says historical period. That means if you go before a judge dressed like a pirate and say, it says historical period, and this makes me feel the most comfortable and
Oh, this is going to be a thing now. This is going to be a thing that otherwise well-to-do people have to respond to and formulate a cogent argument to. They'll be like, well, yes, I have heard of pirate theory. I have. I do have some holes to poke. You know, yar.
confident in my gender. Why can't I dress up like a busty female pirate from the 1700s with an eye patch?
Oh, there it is. We're getting a little bit, obviously, of some role play, if you will. People are expressing themselves in a variety of ways, and we have to allow them to do so.
And a fake peg
Like
leg.
Keira Knightley from Pirates.
Exactly, absolutely.
Or a nudist.
And if the judge says,
Right?
Wait, what? I'm sorry, what? Keira Knightley? Just because she played a character in a film? Oh, they're very confused.
When's that
I
gonna happen?
reject this historical period clothing, which clearly falls in line, then the law is basically meaningless. But I'm curious.
The
'cause I'll
law
tell you
is
this,
meaningless.
If it were me and I went to
Yes.
Fox
This
News,
is meaningless.
and this
I'll agree
story
with that
came out,
part.
I would show up the next day dressed like a pirate. And I would get like legit Hollywood production quality pirate costume. And I'd be like, I am going on the air, dressed like a pirate, talking like this, yar, welcome to the news program. And if they had a problem with it, it's a violation of the law. Is Fox News at that point going, they're
See, you see what I mean? No pushback yet. Is there an equivalent of this? I've never seen like a panel of a bunch of leftists, a lot of disagreements. I mean, just look at the discourse right now. It's like, hey, by the way, if you have a family who's religious, then apparently you don't have brain cells, bro. Lol, keck. Like, there's lots of disagreements, but is there one figure on the left who in the middle of a conversation, everyone can be talking, they're almost on the same page, and then out of nowhere, they will say things that are cartoonish at their best, like you are describing what would take place if this was a cartoon right now. And then no one pushes back on it, ever. Like, no one just acknowledges it as like, well, that was a very bizarre thing to say. That doesn't really have any bearing in reality at all. We should probably just continue our conversation as we were doing previously. We'll just keep going. I don't think there is. Like, people were saying Jimmy Dore, but I was like, Jimmy Dore isn't taken seriously. Like, Jimmy Dore can sit in a room, say something like that, and then have no pushback anymore. And just have people be like, yeah, Jimmy. Anyways, let's keep going. Let's keep discussing this issue.
They're going to be presented with one of two scenarios: destroy your audience, sacrifice your audience for the local New York City laws, or relocate.
You mentioned the New York City laws, and I think there's merit to that, but I do think that the ESG considerations from the investors and stuff, I think that has a significant amount of pressure put on them as well. So I think that the combination of the two is probably the most likely reason.
But that part of the story puzzled me the most, that apparently they are pitching their high HRC score as like a net positive.
Yeah.
As
Because
a
of the
conservative
investors.
network, that's like that's a stain on your network from that group.
But there's big investors that are like BlackRock and stuff like that. These investment firms and stuff.
Oh yeah, Coolish region. I totally agree. That's why I'm doing a fucking. That's why it's a bit. That's why I'm like, this is ridiculous. It's just so wild that this is very transparently like everyone will say something that you can kind of guess where they're gonna go. Hey man, you know, that shooting sure sucked. Yeah, it did. But like Second Amendment, right? Yeah, Second Amendment. Hey, by the way, did you know that if wizards were real and they had wizarding staffs, those wizarding staffs could be considered something that may have to fall under the purview of the Second Amendment? Yeah. I mean, thing. And that's the problem with guns, bro. You know, like that, it doesn't happen. It doesn't go down like this.
Like that have a significant effect on the direction of the corporation, because it opens opportunities if you play by their rules. So it may affect your bottom line, and you may lose, like Fox may lose viewers because of the woke stuff coming out. But in like BlackRock and stuff like that say
but I wonder
promise
with
opportunities in the future.
See, Fox's business model though is not what everybody thinks it is. Most of their money actually comes from carriage fees. Now, advertising is obviously a good chunk of it too, and they don't want to lose it. But the hard reality is, even though they were losing some money on Tucker's show due to boycotts and other stuff, Fox News was still generating a good chunk of change. I mean, they were not in any danger of going bankrupt or anything like that.
What are carriage fees?
Give us to you.
Carriage fees are fees paid to a cable channel to be carried on,
for
like say
subscription.
Verizon, these cable packages. So because nobody will get cable without Fox, very few people, they get paid a certain amount of money for each user. So the problem Fox is going to have that's bigger than boycotts, ad boycotts, are cord cutters. Because if you're getting a carriage fee of whatever, say
but that's a massive thing right now. I think we are seeing, 80% of households is early as like 10 years ago were taking cable subscriptions. That's been cut to close to 40% at this point. Like that's nearly cut in half. That's wild. Wow, they're gonna have to contend with that. That's why so many of them are now just trying to position themselves quickly. That's why CNN went from being like, let's just say centrist to now center-right to, maybe just right. Because yeah, you have to adapt rapidly.
$1 a person, and there's 100 million people with cable. You got 100 million in the can before you sold a freaking ad. The problem is the cord cutting is speeding up. That's why when I decided I was going to do interviews after leaving Fox, I've only done 2, and they've both been new media. You guys and Megyn Kelly, because I am an avid supporter of new media. As this cord cutting picks up, shows like this, you have to understand, like, this is going to be a dumb box in the future, okay? They call it a smartphone. It's really a dumb box. It's going to be a transmission vehicle. People are going to want to watch Tim Pool. Tim Pool is going to be your 8 o'clock guy, whatever. Tim Pool's whether you watch it on this, an iPad, a computer, or a monitor with smart TVs is going to be totally irrelevant. The cable box is done. We just bought a house, and the guy comes over we needed a cable, traditional cable, because I still watch cable, Newsmax and Fox and stuff. The guy goes, cable box. He goes, no, we don't even have those. You got to go pick one up yourself. Well, what do you mean? You're a cable guy. He goes, no, we don't do that. He goes, everybody streams it now. The guy
Did that because the new Warner CEO is a Trump? Well, it's also just because of business. It was 100% a business decision. If you look at where the amount of populace is that are watching late night cable television, it skews older. Like younger generations are not watching their news on TV. So it's one of the reasons why there's a large market that's been carved out by, say, NBC and then to a lesser degree ABC. But for the most part, CNN can't survive solely as just like, oh, we are 100% a global news corporation, center positioned at all times, tell you direct and truth at all. Like, no, people are watching who want to see that like particular opinion anymore.
Because he hasn't hooked up a cable box in days. I said, really? We're the only ones. I felt like I was from the Flintstones. So Fox makes a lot of money from that. But you're not wrong. Like there is pressure from places like BlackRock that can buy up a lot and can buy up your stock. But if your brand and your value added, right, is, hey, we're going to be.
Well, what's also fascinating is how this merged after, in large part due to Web 2.0 into, yes, there are independent media organizations, sometimes as small as just a single influencer. And that one person can suddenly have a large amount of influence on the public with what they post, what they say, what their opinions are at any given day. And then there should be a responsibility to a certain extent to those people once they reach a certain size that we should have been doing a long ass time ago. I say that as someone with influence in those spheres. Like, yes, 100% there should be a certain amount of accountability that can't just only be people's adherence to their fans or their fan bases or their peers or their colleagues, because while I would love that to be enough, there's certainly enough cases and examples of these things getting to such a degree where an Alex Jones can appear, and Alex Jones isn't beholden to anyone except his own delusions at any given time.
The conservative channel, then I'm sorry, but you got to do conservative stuff. I mean, their opinion part is conservative.
They got to leave New York.
Who owns it? Who owns Fox? I'm looking. It's 39% Murdoch. It's only 39% though. So who owns the other 50?
Well, it's publicly traded.
1%.
Someone super chatted and said, "What if the historical period was pre-Civil War, Southern Belle?" So if you work at Fox News, show up and say you identify as your gender is non-binary antebellum, and
oh my god. It's wild. It's all like unscientific nonsense to the point where it's like, hey, we're just going to continue to dehumanize an entire group of people and do so under the veneer of, well, it's just funny because I said pirate. Pirate's funny because of the sound R-yar. So it's kind of funny if people don't have like civil rights. That's why it's hilarious.
wear old pre-Civil War.
You'd be thrown out of there so fast.
They can't do that. This is the problem. Look, if they want to create these laws, all it takes is someone with the willingness to be like, let's see if we'll play a game of chicken. Is Fox News? Look, Fox News is perfect for this because the people who work at MSNBC like what MSNBC does. The people who work at Fox clearly oppose, not all of them, but a lot of them, the ideology. Is Fox going to say, we will lose our audience and go out of business, or will we move? So it's like the pressure is on, man. If you work there, you can make the difference.
But I wonder, have they made a commitment ever since?
When you say move, like online, they've been online for a long time. If you mean, should they become a completely unavailable through cable? That would be a massive loss at this point. Why would they? They cornered that demographic. They are literally the #1 cable news organization. There's no reason for them to stop in that venue. They are just doing what any smart business like corporation would do. They're merging. They're both doing that and new media at the same time.
Tucker and I, departed from the network.
You say move out of New York? Oh, literally move. That's even more ridiculous.
Become like a right of center network rather than what they were, thinking that that's where the money is. Because you got to remember, everyone who's tried that has failed. I could go through a list of probably 4 or 5 online outlets. It started as explicitly right, conservative, right leaning, who decided to play down the. You know what? IJ, remember IJ Review was hot, man, when it started. They were doing these like nugget videos and.
Okay, so I see it now. Wow, it does feel like you're on some. How did he put it? Professional drugs, professional intoxicants.
Vine-like videos. They were hot. They're still around. Whether they're profitable, I don't know. But they were blowing up. They were doing right-leaning stuff. And then someone, I don't know who, pitched them this idea of, hey, let's play it down the middle. The problem with playing it down the middle is you just piss off both sides. And you got to understand, like, the politics now are very Manichaean. They're just, this is it. Like, the next fight is the end and the next election is the end. Whether that's true or not, I hope it isn't. Unfortunately, people feel that way.
It's not the middle. It's establishment. If you are someone like Jimmy Dore, who's very clearly a leftist, but you are, if you're honest.
What? No. Just because someone says it doesn't make it true. You don't just say things out loud and then be like, oh, so you're a leftist. What do you believe in? Well, I don't know. The woke SJWs, cancel culture, trans agenda, ideology.
about the news.
Yeah, I love Jimmy Dore.
Exactly.
I played a clip of him. It's funny on my podcast today.
So why do you think that is? Why do a lot of people who align with the far right kind of universally be like, oh, well, I normally hate the left, except for that Jimmy Dore guy. Yeah, he really gets the anti-LGBTQ plus stuff just how I like it, seasoned to perfection.
It's hilarious.
Jimmy Dore will argue socialist economic points, and you'll
No, he won't. So many times when you bring that shit up, he's always like, oh, well, I mean, I don't know a lot about the whole, the theory of it all or the idea or it's something about unions.
be like, well, Jimmy, I think you're clearly wrong about that. And then you'll come to the issue of Epstein or Clinton or the banks, and you'll completely agree because he's honest.
Jimmy doesn't buy into the religion either.
Right.
Like the whole religion part, the ideology that goes along with it. It's like Jimmy's straight up about like the actual material conditions, which is
No. So, I don't know, praise from Caesar? Is this not enough for you to be like, okay, so Jimmy Dore decidedly is basically validation for the far right from a leftist perspective. The only one who's sane. Yeah, it's like, well, everyone else is bought into the whole, I don't know, queer shit. All that fucking queer, the gay shit. Fuck the gay shit. But like, Jimmy Dore, he gets it right. He gets it right, he gets it from, what is it, a historical materialist perspective, Hegelian, some may say.
more close to like original Marxism with
Of course.
what is it?
Class-based or-
Yeah, materialism. I forget
Yeah,
the
class-based or something.
the phrase that he used, but he was really focused on materialism. And Jimmy,
yeah, of
and Jimmy
course.
Dore does that. He doesn't get into the what basically boils down to like the almost the theology of the left, the whole
Yeah.
the trans stuff and the LGBT.
By the way, I don't have a superpower. This is not you seeing a magic trick. I did not pre-watch this. This is not me watching this ahead of time to be like, you see this? I can read everything. No, it's because it's the same fucking patterns. We watch these videos and these people over and over and over, they repeat the same points. That's the other problem with it all.
Stuff and the basically the making it like a religious.
You know what I think though the Fox problem is going to be too. The problem they're going to have is conservatives, right? I mean, I've been embedded in this movement a long time, over a decade of my life. Conservatives don't like to get toyed with. Believe me, I see it. Like conservatives will call out conservatives
No one does. Everyone fucking hates it.
over nothing. Liberals don't have that problem. You realize like how dumb liberals are? I'm sorry, they're freaking imbeciles. You can lie to a liberal for 5 years about a pee-pee hoax, right? It's clearly bullshit. Like there was no...
All of it.
5 years, Tim, 5 years. Imagine wasting. So Rachel Maddow probably does 190 shows a year before.
Yeah, I'm not going to defend the whole Mueller, she wrote crowd.
Including Ron DeSantis. That's not calling him a backbencher, you freaking idiot. And it's like our people call our people out over stuff that didn't even happen. And we're so annoyed, like, you're not principled. And yet the left, you can stick it to them, lie to them, make up innumerable stories, and they...
That's not true. Holy shit. There's so, like, it's a meme. It's a fucking meme at this point. The leftist infighting, they fight over fucking everything. There's like 6 different leftist infighting battles going online right now in a whole bunch of different directions over different topics that expand everything from what is the proper term to call someone in one group when you are not a part of that other group. Hey, is it racist if person X does Y? Hey, is this person being a sexist? Is this person defending a racist? Is this person defending a misogynist? Is this person a trans misogynist? All directions, everywhere, all over the place. There's no civility. There's no like NPC like, yes, we all accept this for now until something better comes along.
will never give up. They'll tune in to Rachel Maddow tomorrow.
Yeah.
Her podcast kicks ass.
Yep.
I follow the numbers like you do. If you got caught lying about a major thing, I've got the skinny
thanks,
on
Emma.
Governor Andrew Cuomo. It's just coming down. It's an explosive story. And for 5 years, and it turns out to be BS. No one watched Tim Pool again. But that's not what we do. It makes us better people. And I'm proud to be on the true side of the movement. And I agree with you. It's more anti-establishment than conservative or left. I totally get that. I'm vibing with you on that.
I totally forgot about how he thought Rage Against the Machine went from like actually being leftists to all of a sudden just being like corporate stooges, you know? Yeah. What were they really raging about at the end of the day? Who was the machine?
But if you did the stuff lefties pull on their audience, you'd be done, man.
Thanks for watching this clip from
That's wild. So yeah, no, it's the exact opposite. What's weird is it's the exact opposite, but it's being reinforced where they're like, and by the way, this is true. Yeah, this is the truth, everybody. Believe us. You have to. Do you enjoy the Serfs, but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form. Available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Juste, we shall spend many a generations building mighty cathedrals in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your oafish jesters, here to offer you a laugh at any opportunity. To our brave knights of the Round Table, Rachel K., Izzy Solidarity, Victoria Bell, Sebastian Demel, Mark Harmon, Benji Arnie, Scary Earth Human, Tony, DM Rivera, Resident Scarecrow, Sir Nickus, Cheryl Alvarez, Ruby Kelly, Brandon, Words Greenwood, Everything Important, Hegbert Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariane McCarthy, Doug Cady, Daniel Sutton, Jenna Tal, Dark Puppy, Quiet One 85, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, Multimondi, Trevbot EXE, Brian Ephraim, Anthropophojack, Catherine, Ramon Acosta, Incosin, Ralph Parler, Violent Orchard, Political Puppy, La Media Panza, Todd Buckingham, and Todd La Jeunesse. We salute our valiant heroes off to fight injustice everywhere.